Yo, what's up guys? So today's video gonna be shooting the shit a little bit and talking about how motivation alone will not help you quit weed. We see this a lot. People get sober or they're starting their sober journey and they're super excited. They're like, yes, I'm gonna do it. They're super motivated. The thing is though, motivation is an emotion, which means it is fleeting. It is gonna pass, it is gonna come and it's gonna go. And just like you can't rely on like happiness and being happy all the time, the same goes for feeling motivated. So this is where a lot of people get hung up and stuck and are essentially unable to quit marijuana because they are relying solely on motivation. And after a few, days or whatever, after they start going through the withdrawals, they realize like, oh, okay, like I'm not motivated anymore. In fact, this actually sucks. This hurts. I want to quit. And then in turn, they go and relapse and they continue to smoke marijuana and get in a really perpetual cycle. So you might be watching this and you might be able to relate. The cycle of marijuana addiction, right? Today I'm gonna quit and then I use. Today I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna use. Today I'm gonna quit. You see how this is going. So really it's important to realize that, hey, look, I'm gonna eventually, one day I'm gonna have to quit and I'm gonna have to just suck it up and go through it. This is really, the people that I've seen that have quit marijuana, including myself, we kind of just stopped making excuses for it. We said, okay, like, you know what, this is gonna hurt. There's no magical pill, there's no magic solution. I really just have to kind of grind through it and push it through, right? Wait it out. And after doing that, we were rewarded with not having to use marijuana anymore. So really then you might be asking, okay, like this sounds like me, like I am only waiting for motivation to quit marijuana and I never get that motivation. It just comes and it goes and then I'm stuck, wanting to smoke weed again to get rid of the pain. Quitting weed is not a task for the simple folk to say. It does require a lot of strength, inner courage, facing the unknown, facing uncertainty, which is a big emotion that is difficult to face. I still struggle with it today, and I've been almost 8 years sober now. When there's a situation that I'm not sure on, I do get anxious and get worried, and I've learned to not let it control me. However, I still don't like it and I don't feel good about it. So it's not an easy one to overcome, right? So in no way, if you're feeling uncertainty about life, it's a critique. It's something that takes time and practice to learn. And those are a few of the emotions that are gonna come up and that you're gonna have to face when you're quitting marijuana and just kind of going for it, right? So really being able to sit with, build that pain tolerance. A lot of folks, they don't have a lot of ability to tolerate pain. And again, it's not your fault. It's your responsibility. It's not your fault though. Society has really, and it's not society's fault either. I'm just kind of saying this in a factual way. Society has been easy for the last, 40, 50 years. There's a saying that it's hard. I've made a video on this before. Hard times create strong people. Strong people create good times. Good times, which is where we were in the last 40, 50, 60 years, create weak people. Weak people create hard times, and the cycle continues. So a lot of folks are realizing that, oh, I've been living the good life, right? I've had everything I've wanted when I've wanted it. We grew up on video games, we grew up with fast food and cookies and all kinds of ice cream whenever we wanted, right? So we never really had to work like maybe our grandparents' generation did, where I know they were working from like freaking 4 years old, right? Just out there grinding. We didn't have to do that. I didn't get my first job till I was like 16. And I'll be honest, I was quite soft. And, since then, so it's been about 14 years since I've been 16, has really been a journey of learning how to have discipline, have work ethic. I didn't have the greatest work ethic. I did in sports, but when it came to actually like getting out there and doing something that wasn't fun, I did not do well with that and had a lot of resistance towards it. So thinking about marijuana is not, quitting marijuana anyway, is not fun. It's not an enjoyable process. And it really is almost like a death because a lot of folks have been hanging on to it as like their last crutch for happiness. And you kind of realize like, this is, if this goes, I'm gonna have to sit through some boredom, some loneliness, some depression, right? So that's kind of one of the truths about quitting marijuana. It's not, you don't feel great all the time. You do get moments of huge like relief and expansion and like oh my God, like I'm free. So you will get that, but life in itself is not happy all the time. you have to have the lows to experience the highs. So part of living life is realizing that not everything is going to be happy. Even if I'm doing my best, even if everything's going as good as it could be, some days I'm just not going to be my best self. And that is okay. That is part of life. And once you can realize that and accept that, okay, I'm going to quit marijuana and I'm not going to get to have this thing that's going to give me happiness 24/7 like we did. Although, as you know, and if you're watching this channel, it gives you temporary relief and then pain after. And that's why the cycle of smoking weed is there, because you want to numb that pain. Learning that, hey, life is going to have ups and it's going to have downs. And that's just kind of, if I can accept the misery, life will not be as miserable. Eckhart Tolle, who I really recommend you guys checking out if you are new into spirituality. I started reading his book, The Power of Now, about a week before I got sober, and I think there's a correlation there for sure. His saying was, he was talking about a book, it's called The Road Less Traveled, and the first sentence of the book is, once you accept life is difficult, it's no longer difficult. And he's like, I didn't have to read the rest of the book because that explained it, right? Like, once you can accept life is hard, life is no longer hard. Once you can accept life is boring, life is no longer boring. So that is my call to action for you today. Anything you're experiencing that's painful and that you don't want to experience, use that line. If life is, once I accept life is frustrating, life is no longer frustrating, because a lot of the pain comes from the resistance of having to experience that emotion. And when you can fully surrender to it, it loses its power. And it's just kind of like, oh yeah, well, life isn't boring anymore once you accept it, because it's like, oh, I can start to see clearly now because I don't have this filter of saying that, like, oh, life should be this way, right? So anyway, guys, that's a short little vid for today. Kind of just popped up in my head and I wanted to talk about it. I have been doing less vids on this channel, and it's something that I'm stepping away from a little bit because of some things that happened with clients. And I'll just say one client, they signed up for coaching and then they decided to mark my services as fraud and bounce away. And then I had to pay extra fees on top of it, and the credit card took the money that they paid me. And so anyway, it made me realize that I don't know if this is quite the career avenue I want to do, but I know these videos do add value to some of you guys, and I want to keep making these occasionally for you because I know you do get value from it. So if you're going through it right now and you're not feeling motivation, know that that's normal, and that at some point, if you really do want to quit weed, again, weed is for those who want it, or excuse me, quitting weed is for those who want it. It's not for those that need it. A lot of people need it, but you have to really want it at the core of your being. So I recommend you guys, really internalize this video and recognize that, if I really want this, I don't need the motivation, right? I can do it without the motivation. When the motivation's there, it's gonna be awesome, but then it's gonna go away and I'm gonna have to be, kind of left with my own devices of, do I want this? Do I wanna really do this, I guess, essentially. So you can reach out if you have any questions about it. Instagram is the best way, at Joel Lee Henry. I'll put a link down below and you can say what's up and we can talk, shoot the shit. And I've been there. I know what it's like to not feel motivated, and then I know what it's like to do it without motivation. And it does something to you, right? It's like kind of like going to the gym. Sometimes you don't want to go to the gym, but you do it anyway. That's kind of like what quitting weed is. Sometimes you just got to do the reps, do the lifts, even though your body's telling you, no, I don't want to do it. And then you might find yourself in turn a couple of years later free of marijuana and never having to worry about it again. I don't even think about it anymore. If I smell it, I'm like, oh, that smells nice, and then I move on. There's no cravings, no desire to use it. It's just pretty much just a memory at this point. So with that, guys, we'll call it a wrap for the day. Hope you guys are doing well, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.